We start with politics. The second leg of the ANC's 9th elective conference in the Northwest will get underway today at the Rustenburg Civic Centre. The party could not conclude its work 2 weeks ago due to delays that were caused by a myriad of issues. Disgruntled party members headed to court to challenge the legitimacy of the interim provincial committee because its term had ended. There were also allegations of vote rigging. The matter has, however, been struck off the roll because it lacked urgency. This week, party members are looking to constitute the provincial executive committee and have discussions on policy matters. Let's get you the latest on this. Pilane Bakhare is part of our team watching the story. He joins us now live from the Rustenburg Civic Centre. And Pilane, I wonder how smoothly things are likely to unfold today, given what this party has had to survive to even get here.
I can tell you that 2 weeks is a very long time for a conference to have not concluded. So it has been ongoing since then, and ongoing in the sense that it has not been closed. The top 5 officials have been elected, but then of course they're still charged with the responsibility of ensuring that this particular conference concludes with the election of provincial executive committee additionals, and as well as ensuring that they go to committees, break away into committees and deal with issues around policy. And this is the first conference that goes into an elective conference and to discuss policy after a policy conference has been had. Perhaps that as well just gives them a leeway to have a better understanding and a discussion as far as the discussion policy is concerned. Let me bring in Tato Magogodi. Of course, he's one person now, if you can remember correctly, at around 2018, leading a council of revolutionists, they called themselves at the time, to do away with then chairperson Suprema Humapelo. But of course, right now, you have been able to see what was happening in the court, struck off the roll. What was happening in the court? What is your reaction with the outcome of the court? And of course, ANC members taking the ANC in itself to court.
Well, at a personal level, being a disciplined member of the ANC, one would not personally take the ANC to court. But I would defend the right of those who have chosen that route, if they deem it fit, to exercise their constitutional right to take the ANC to court. On our part, we have written a petition in which we have served the ANC internally up to the National Executive Committee to raise these issues that we are concerned about the fraudulence of this conference.
Talk to me now about the fraudulence of the conference, and what is it that you are alleging? What is it that you saw that you, according to you and your colleagues, is tantamount to vote rigging at this conference that happened 2 weeks ago?
Well, there's a plethora of issues that point to the wrongness of this conference. Amongst the cardinal ones would be the fact that credentials firstly were imposed on delegates, but once the credentials were imposed and there was a sense that there is an adoption, registration took place the following day. The second point is that tags were duplicated. The third and most disturbing one is that the delegates who were duly nominated by their branches to become to actually participate in this conference were excluded and replaced by bogus delegates who would represent a particular faction to produce this fraudulent outcome.
What is it that you're expecting here today? We are looking at the PEC member elections. Despite your petition, will you be partaking? Will you are grouping those who are disgruntled, who have petitioned to the NEC, as well be partaking in ensuring that they elect their PEC members at this stage?
We will not be partaking in this conference because we do not want to further contaminate the scene of crime. But let me just say this thing so that I summarize the essence of what is transpiring here. You would have interviewed the entire top 5. You would have made your own observation by now that there's no substance on their part to defend the wrong things that they're doing here. You would have also made the observation and the conclusion that these are just but a bunch of fraudsters who know nothing about the National Democratic Revolution, who are not committed to the renewal project of the ANC, and therefore do not understand this complex task that we have of focusing on championing the needs and the aspirations of our people. For them, this is just a political game of self-aggrandizement, and they are willing to defend this fraud at all costs. But we will be raising our issues. Their comrades would be doing it internally. Their comrades would be doing it externally. We have chosen the route of not participating because we do not want to further contaminate what we believe is a scene of crime that the Rustenburg Civic Centre is.
As a quick one, maybe as to try to assist us to understand as we conclude, is that if you are not going to partake, how many members or delegates will not be partaking, and will that not affect the issue around credentials of who now becomes eligible to vote for PEC members, and looking at the fact that their credentials were already adopted about 2 weeks ago?
Look, there's a mess. I'm saying to you that credentials were adopted, but the following day they were revised, which is never heard of in the ANC, because they wanted to play with the product of this conference, those who are at the center of this fraud. So I'm saying to you that the credentials are not properly crafted, and that is actually the essence of why we are challenging this conference. I'll give you a specific example. Now that they realize that we've raised some of these issues, they're beginning to call the proper delegates so as to just sanitize the mess that they've already caused, but obviously in a manner that it does not affect the numbers that would continue to produce an outcome that has been predetermined towards the direction of this fraud.
Of course, just giving us a sense as far as the disgruntled members are concerned. They've petitioned the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress. They've not chosen the court way, but they also say that they do defend, of course, the rights of those who decided to go to the court of law. But I think what is pivotal is that there are some members who are not going to be willing to partake at this conference to conclude the elections of the PEC members. What that now means, I'm sure we'll have to get to the bottom of it through the African National Congress and the official office bearers who are here, and as well as the NEC members who are deployed here, as to how will that be possible now after the adoption of credentials 2 weeks ago. As they said, they've been adopted. Will that now mean that the new delegates, some of them who do come, will they be able to continue to vote for their preferred Provincial Executive Committee additionals?
All very important questions. Philani Bakhadi, for now, thanks very much indeed. Philani Slash to us there from Rustenburg.